People holding hearts before charts, before meds had names, we had compassion. This one's for every nurse, past, present, and future. Let's go.
We are the calm in the storm, the beacon of hope. Every beat, every breath, we honor the oath. From night shifts to day breaks, loving our tone. Peplo taught us, connection heals more than alone. From Florence to futures, we redefine care, not just meds and machines. We're presence of prayer, with hands that comfort, eyes that see truth. Healing ain't a chart, notice what we do. We are nurses.
I think we're recording. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Peplau's Ghost. This is a full house. It's been a little while, but it's great to see everybody, our regular host here, as well as our next guest, which I am thrilled to have here, Ms Mya Yee Nander. And I'm so thrilled to get you on the podcast. We've briefly met a little bit when we did some training back in San Diego back in March of 2026. And when we got to meet each other, I just was honestly very thrilled about your experiences and your background and kind of what brings you to the PMHNP role. So I'm excited to get to know a little bit more about you through this podcast and such. And so thank you very much, Mya, for being here. Really appreciate this opportunity. Also welcome Dr. Sean Convoy, Dr. Melissa Chapman-Hayes, and Dr. Kate Molino in no specific order besides that's the way I see it on my screen right now. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here. So Mya, let's just jump into it. I would really love to hear your story and have you share your story with the audience here of, how you came to the United States and how you came to nursing and ultimately became a psych mental health nurse practitioner. I know you're also duly certified as a family and psych nurse practitioner, and you're in academia as well. So maybe I always like hearing about origin stories. And so maybe if you wouldn't mind giving us your origin story.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I was born and raised in a country called Burma. Nowadays, it's known as Myanmar. And my previous life back in Burma, I was in the tourism industry. I worked as a cultural interpreter and a diplomat in different regions, and a quote unquote, and also tour guide. So I will host the world and whomever come in wanting to understand about culture, traditions, and then people in general, right, about the country and etc. So from there, I generally traditional Burmese women will basically stay home. You don't go out after 6 p.m. You see what I mean? And so became a tourist guide, which I have so much excitement and interest about and towards the world. And then again, Burma, Myanmar has been, running the longest civil war. Now we had another outbreak of civil war, which, displaced 4 million people the past 4 years. So, like any of the others, I am one of them who grown up in this situation, country, political and social situation. So kind of adapt and kind of understand things, right? And however, this understanding and relating to the world and world language, that's the major drive that I really want to go out and want to see and feel, are we the only suffering countries? So from that work, I was able to understand, before I understand the world, I was able to understand within my cultural and social political context. I was able to travel out of my house, a couple of blocks more, and later on in town, and later on another district. Later on, I started traveling around the country, right? And that experience gave me not only the deep understanding of, our political, historical, social values, good, bad, ugly, and also understanding of healthcare problems and crisis that we faced. And right there and then, after years later, I decided, why don't I change my profession? Why don't I change my profession? It's the same form of human caring. We kind of host people with smile and hospitality, but when they are not rich and with money and health, when they are sick. And then I wanted to go back to school back in Burma for nursing school. And then that's the time that there are 3 strikes, against me. And in order to go back to school, it was very, very difficult. At that time, I was already graduated from one of this local university, and I had my English literature. Yeah. And I wanted to go back to nursing, just want to take care of people in the community, especially those communities. It's difficult to reach out. Sometimes it's 2.5 days walking or climbing the mountains, and you stay somewhere in a tiny little village and etc. So I see myself, why don't I just become a nurse and then just fly in or walk over there, whatsoever I can, do. And then there are three strike against me, which is in order to get into majority of the school at that time, all of the school actually are run by the state government, by the government. And then restricted, you got to be 18 or 18 years old or lower, younger than 18 years old, and I have to have a certain height and weight, and I'm not wearing, I have, and then Sean, you won't be able to fit in because you wear reading glasses. they won't let you in because those are the criteria, almost impossible for in my 20s, in my late 20s. And another one is you got to be virgin. That's a translation of apio lubio, meanings you got to be single, meanings there are different translations. So I passed all this boat. Couldn't get back anymore. And I was so itching, and I understand there are a lot greater out there that I can do a lot better with this virtue of human caring. So the first school I started looking outside, got a scholarship. It's called APEC University, which is a private university in Bangkok, Thailand. That's a university which has accredited university, and then I'm able to move forward my American education, right? And of course, at that time, there were no, support system, no actual saved money in order to go study in abroad or etc. So thankful that I just got into Assumption University, study nursing. Love and love and love it. In 2 years into my nursing, I feel so itching. I can do better. I can get more American. How about American nursing? How about American nursing? Long story short, I've met amazing visiting professors from America. And she just come and sit and just talk. It's like a transformational. The women, autonomy, confidence, everything I've never met before. And then I'm like, that's it. That's what I want. That's what I want. And of course, I didn't have any, form of scholarships or income, no, nothing like this, right? So it was my dream. She instilled in me. But it took 4 years for me to collect. Long story short, I was able to finally, when the countries opened up, the war was ceased, and I possessed a couple of land that I purchased. I was a small entrepreneur back in Burma, and that land sales was able to pursue my education in University of Hawaii. And first
That's
year
awesome.
in the University of Hawaii, I love and love and love it. And the first thing I've learned about is cultural care and human caring. Before I talk about white blood cells count or, the numbers, they taught me so well about transcultural nursing. And after I graduated, I fall in love with cultural cares. And that's how I get here. And you couldn't go back home after graduated. Reach out to the Burmese Nursing Council. Hi, Professor so-and-so. I'm ready to come home. I'm ready to come home. Well, excuse me, what's your name? And it's, oh my gosh, blah, 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 right? And then she said, well, we're not sure because you coming back home with American education, not sure whether it is even eligible to come back to Burma. So it's not about American education. It's about xenophobia. And then, this it's a threat, right? And however, I am very persistent. my family member, everybody lined up in front of this, Department of Nursing and say, we're here to apply to get a nursing license. Every week, different family members showed up in Burma. And when I am actually kind of keep on going with my nursing and here in Hawaii, right? Back and forth. And after 2.5 years later, they are saying, okay, finally we give up, but come back. Let's have an interview. It took 2.5 days to have an interview that I am a worthy, kind of graduate from Practitioner University in order to come back to serve the community of Burma in Burma. And then COVID-19 outbreak hit, no travels, and etc. So I moved on. I moved on from Hawaii to Indiana. That's where the Burmese community, and there are 20,000 Burmese refugees hosted there. And I became their primary care APRN. From right there, and then I learning about physical signs and symptoms. And now I'm able to manage blood pressure and diabetic. But there are more than that. There's more than that I have no idea. Psych. My people, including myself, we have no idea how much trauma we have went through, although we smile as the winner of the millionaire today, right? That there's so much trauma that I have not processed. They have not processed. And there's some sort of understanding that I need more than understanding the body. And that's a time that I hold myself and I said, I got to go back to school for psychiatry. And that's where I got into proud school of Northern Kentucky University. Yay! And of course, my master's in family nurse practitioner from Indiana University, they taught me so well. I love what I do. And the psychiatry portion, I love what I do. And that's the reason why I'm in the world of psychiatry. So I find myself, I have a good balance, mind and body and soul.
Maya, I'm inspired. I mean, I hope everybody listening gets the same goosebumps I'm getting right now because that's just a wonderful story. And I remember hearing some of that when we first met in March. And so thank you for sharing some more details on that. You are definitely a shining star, and your passion and inspiration, I hope, feeds other people's as well. So turn it over to Sean. Thank you, Maya.
So I think Roosevelt once said that the test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much, but it's whether we provide enough for those who have too little.
Yes.
I suspect your nurse-led free clinic motto would be endorsed by both Roosevelt and Peplau. Can you tell us about your clinic's model and your motivation behind it?
Yes. So from there, I have started touching quite a number of underserved community, ACT team, street medicine work. I do it all in Hawaii, Indiana, and Illinois. And one of the worth talking about, the thing that I did was in 2024, I successfully launched a free clinic. The model based in Sunrise Leininger model, which is culturally congruent care. It's based on theory of culturally congruent care. And then so that free clinic nestled in southwest of Chicago. And that's where a lot of underserved community plus refugees community who fall out of this insurance world, language barriers, cultural barriers, system barriers. It's very difficult to get healthcare whatsoever. Or maybe they just like, screw it, I'm done. I'm going to take my home medicinal powder. And I will just go in and see doctor only when I'm so crashed and no longer able to function because of So I saw a huge need. And again, I won't be able to do this, Sean, without having a full practice authority of state of Illinois. I am very thankful to our ancestors, fighters for full practice authority, believe in the goodness of APRNs and the nursing, that what we can do for the community. So with this full practice authority, I'm able to set up a tiny little clinic. It started with 2 tables and 1 chair. That's all they ask. I asked one of this, community monk. I said, "Monk, I would like to come in and take care of people. What you need? We don't blah 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 blah." I said, "All I need is tiny little room, 1 table and 2 chairs. That's it? Yes, that's all I need." So the model based on human caring Watson theory, and then Dr. Leininger transcultural nursing sunrise model. So theory basically based on 3 pillars. One is cultural maintenance, and then another one is cultural preservation, and then later the third one is basically help it transformed, depend on their pace, right? I'm not coming in and say, "Man, I'm an American now. You don't believe in lisinopril anymore? Auntie, why don't you take lisinopril in order to bring the blood pressure down instead of taking this Thuese, which is like 35 different herbs that they take. They thought his blood pressures were getting better and calm her heart down, right? Instead of that, go ahead and take your Thuese. It's really, really good." Yes, my mother took Thuese. I took Thuese. Auntie, we've been taking Thuese for 25 years, right? Could we bring our blood pressures down? I might have something, just a tiny little pill. It seems to be help working. It's prevent a lot of stroke, heart attack, and everything. Auntie, you have all these beautiful granddaughters graduating. I just leave it there.
That's wonderful. Maya, I'll do another name drop in that your story and what you're talking about and the passion behind it. It almost reminds me of you being somewhat of a modern day Mary Breckenridge with the Frontier Nursing Service. I'll pass it to Melissa.
Yes, thank you so much. I have to take a minute to just take in, and I love your passion and enthusiasm for this work. So thinking about that therapeutic relationship, the cultural navigation and preservation, Peplau's theory emphasizes that the relationship between a nurse and a patient is a shared human experience. And at My Free Clinic, you're serving refugee and former refugee communities who face these barriers that we've been discussing. How do you establish trust and navigate Peplau's orientation phase when a patient may have high anxiety or past trauma to authority and institutions?
Yes. It happened to all of us, including me. I'm not a champion by any means because if I wear the title, it does not mean better rank or a person or etc. It is such an important question, Melissa, because that's what I faced in my first clinic where I served for 12,000 Burmese refugees in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I find that the first 3 to 6 months there is enemies. We all came from the same country, Melissa. We all look alike, but country has been divided for so long. And then when British came in, that's our they were the colonial masters. The number one and at all times rules that they use is divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. The best technique that you can ever do. It's long lasting until today. And I go in and I thought it might be more appropriate if I wear a Burmese dress. I was so wrong. I was so wrong. They were looking at me. They're like, "Where is a real doctor here?" In their perception, the doctor means a white figure, white male figure, or any male figure if there is nothing else. Where's the real doctors here? And then of course I'm a genie out of the bottle. Of course, I have all these crazy hairs going on and flowers. I'm a handful to look at. You see what I mean? And then here I am, I'm talking to these elders that are in their 70s, 80s, or younger generation, they're looking at me, they're like, what bizarre, what are you? You speak Burmese, but you are not one, right? Trust is already broken right there and then. And yes, it was very painful for three to 6 months, extremely painful. And then later on, I learned, I said, Maya, wake up. This is not your journey. That is their journey. This is their healing journey. This is not your healing journey. Don't mix with this. So how can I make my patients? I can't talk about lisinopril, sister. I can't talk about losartan and metformin by any means. The first thing I said is, one technique I've learned is I disarm myself. Disarm. Absolute disarm. I make fun of myself. I make fun of my hair. I make fun of my accent. I make fun of how stupid I look. That cracked the ice. That broke the ice. They start laughing so hard. They just, laughing is a laughter. Laughing is disarming for me. Absolute disarm. And then they started, we feel kind of a couple of visits, 2 to 3 visits. Nobody take the medicine. Every time they come home, there is a boxes and boxes of medicine, not touching because they don't trust it. Mom laughs. Whatever they find. So I started watching very famous Burmese comedy. I started picking up those jokes, and then later on they said one thing, man, I want to see that teacher. They call me teacher. She's so funny. She's so funny. And that's a beginning of it. That's a beginning of it. And from there to now I'm talking to 49 years old male who's coming in with urinary, and they're very protective of it, especially Burmese Muslims male. They don't want to be touched. They don't want to be looked. They don't want to expose anything about it. And now we are able to sit down and talk about, brother, how can I help you?
That is so powerful. The disarming of humor and, putting yourself out there in a way that maybe like washes away the where do people put you in their own psyches and allow that relationship to begin.
Melissa, and then I couldn't take all the credits here. I learned these techniques from my first teacher. You won't believe this, Dr. Patch Adam.
Of course. AKA Robin Williams.
And I listened to his books and read his book 5 times whenever I am so lost. And whenever I'm pumped up with, I'm a nurse. Why are you talking to me like this? Or I'm a nurse practitioner, blah, blah, blah. And every time I have all this pump up anxiety, and I read to his book at least in my lifetime 5 times. And I had a real good time. One of his medicine and humor campaign that in his West Virginia land. So it was very funny. It's such a human experience. Disarm myself.
That's really beautiful.
Myself and others.
Well, it has to be genuine, right? And I can tell by the way that you're talking about it that it's genuine to you and you embody it. So that's really cool.
Yes.
I'll pass it on to Kate.
Thank you. This is so incredible to hear about your work. And I'm also, I think like my colleagues here are just so struck by how you really forefront the human to human connection. You're even describing this environment that is very simple, right? And so much of what we are inundated with, I think, in healthcare in terms of how to move things forward has so much to do with technology and cutting edge digital tools and AI and, all these types of things that are very much not what you're talking about. So, Maya, I am curious, what's your take on that type of thing and how can we really preserve the therapeutic relationship in this environment where we're being very much encouraged to use non-face-to-face interpersonal tools?
Yes. I cannot talk too much in details of, in generalizations, but at least I can add my little personal experience, my clinical pearls. That's a huge struggle. With this AI and the development, it is a rising star. We might not be able to live without AI after all, right? However, let's don't forget, as a human caring champions like you, like everybody, we are nurses. And human caring start with building trust and respect. And not everybody speak like one of us, act like one of us, think like one of us. We do not have a history or background, political, social background of raising in the same neighborhood, go to this beautiful school or not school, kind of like childhood advance, those things we have no idea without actually spending time and listen to somebody else. And the treatment will not be successful if there is no trust. There will be no healing if there is no trust. Trust begins with a good listening, sister. So I got to hold my tongue several times. I got, okay, girl, you want to talk too much now. Why don't you hold your tongue a little bit? Listen to them very deeply, deeply. Even then, before they are able to reach to that point of that they are able to talk to me, there are so many layers. So it's all start with respect, I think. Respect. So keep on showing respect regardless of what. Keep on showing respect. I cannot choose which, kind of former refugees I want to treat. I couldn't. I cannot. Some of them were military. They served in the military, which known to killed the whole entire, blah, 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 right? And another is just a peasant. Their house has been burned down. The wife has been raped. The whole family was uprooted. But as a human caring person, can I choose who is coming in front of my one table and two chairs? Can I judge by now? Okay, oh my gosh, you blah, 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 right? I am right there at that moment. Him, or her, as a human who is going through this suffering.
Yeah. Thank you, Maya. This again, just is great. The question, and I really, one of the things that jumped in my mind too is, as you've said this a couple times, all you needed was that table and two chairs. I mean, I think that's probably your title, your autobiography, right? I mean, that's just going to be, that's just inspiring. And so in thinking of, and kind of feeding off of Kate's question a little bit more too, is, did you try, applying this model of care within more kind of traditional healthcare systems, or did you find you had to kind of set up this free clinic because that's the only place you really could find within our healthcare system currently to take care of these people that you knew needed the care, and you felt a draw to do that?
I'm quite a stray dog in that sense.
I love it.
I see there are the bureaucratic structure, which even myself is struggling, applying fundings and how to write the fundings. And I never learned those stuff before. But right now, with this education, my ancestor gave it to me, the education and knowledge, there's my amazing professors from University of Hawaii, Indiana University, Northern Kentucky. Now I'm at Yale. All these professors and teachers and sang heroes they taught me along the way. That's something I can grab my stethoscopes and be there. That's something I can do right now. So, because of that, I see blood pressure's much improved, less anxiety, and breathing is better. Sugars from 12.5 hemoglobin A1C to 5.6 now.
That's great. That's so wonderful. Maybe we got time for one more question.
I'll ask you to think about, right now you're in the middle of building a practice, and you're in the middle or near the end of your formal education. You're getting close to a terminal degree. You have a unique opportunity because a pretty good chunk of our listenership are psychiatric nurses or graduate students aspiring to be where you're at right now. Can you distill two really focused recommendations to the next generation to come behind you to continue to build upon what you're building?
Disarm, definitely 100%. And it is so easy once we wear a white coat. I got inflated quickly. And I expect a certain way of people talking to me and everything. My ego go up really quickly, so fast. And then I see the therapeutic relationship between me and the rest of the world goes south very quickly. So disarm and be humble. And then keep respect at all times within you and your clients. That's take therapeutic relationship, not only between the provider and the clients or any members or anybody in the world. That's a route to the success. Money will come later. It'll follow you. It'll follow you. But we got to build first a major important foundation that we will go up and falutin with white coats and etc., which we well deserved, right? But always humble and listen well and respect and preserve dignity of the others, regardless of what.
Maya, you've made reference twice today about, managing people's blood pressure with an ACE inhibitor. I think you're a human beta blocker in and of yourself.
This has been great. Yes, thank you. I'll let that kind of be the last statement of the podcast. Thank you very much, Maya, for being here. I appreciate again, I think your inspiration, your passion just comes, if this was in writing, it would come off the page. It's coming off of the earbuds and listening to you right now. So thank you. And definitely, for those listening, we'll have contact information for Maya if anyone wants to get in touch with her. I hope there'll be people that listen to this and want to know more about your free clinic and how we can kind of, make that grow further, maybe to other cultures, other communities that need this care too. But thank you for from the bottom of my heart for being a guest here on Peplau's Ghost. Those listening, please, look forward to more wonderful episodes, more wonderful guests like Maya coming in the future. So please like, subscribe, and send those comments. We'd love to hear from you as well as, what you want to hear from us from the future too. So I thank you and look forward to the next episode soon.
In the past, yeah, we rise through the pain, carrying the torch through the blood and the rain. We are nurses, the world can't forget. We give our all, no regrets. Modern in our ways, but our roots don't decay. Nurses anthem and it's here to stay. We are nurses.
So here's to the hands that heal, the hearts that stay steady, the voices that whisper you're not alone. Because nursing isn't just what we do, it's who we are.